feels comfortable. Oh, I like that. Matching. You know I like to look good, Todd. Ready? We good? All right, it's 9 o'clock, so let's get started. Thank you guys for coming. As for those that haven't been here before, which is I don't think too many. I recognize most of the faces. This is our monthly construction update. I am Sean Bluebaum. I'm our project executive for the campus expansion. We've got Todd Ganter, our senior superintendent over the campus, and we've got a new face, Kelly Wiley. Will introduce himself a little bit later. He is the superintendent over the Vita Center project. So he'll talk a little bit more later. So thank you for coming. Want to go ahead, and I just realized I didn't put my clicker in, so sorry about that. I know. After a couple years, you'd think I'd have it squared away. Right? Somebody find a
I would have been
construction
ready
company.
for it, but
So, okay, as usual, we're going to start with comparing our rendering, which is what we're supposed to build, with where we're at. It's starting to really, really look like the campus. So that is as of last week. So really, really very close to looking like what the original rendering is. We've got pretty much all the buildings closed up, stucco on, scaffold down, et cetera, et cetera. Kelly, can you move a little bit? We've got some folks that can't. Through, as usual, do the drone flight and some still pictures as well. Also, questions and answers, we have them at the end, but as everybody in here has been here before knows, raise your hand, holler, throw stuff. We're happy to answer it all during the course of the presentation. Okay, so we'll start with the safety share to keep safety top of mind. I've asked Kelly to put it together this month and do it for us. So real quick, I said Kelly's the superintendent for the Vita Center. He just joined us 3 weeks ago, maybe? About 3 weeks ago. He's a Sundt employee for 9 years. Been around a little while, and we're really lucky to have him. And he's injected a lot of energy into the team and to the Vita Center project. So we're excited to have him. So with that, I'll let Kelly introduce himself and do the safety share.
can everybody hear me all right? All right, so what I thought we would do today is go over crane safety. We've got a crane coming up on site. As some of you know, the Vita Center is going to be getting a pool. So in order to fly that pool in, we need a crane. Cranes being one of the most hazardous activities on a construction site. There's a lot we need to do to make sure it's done safe. Everyone's probably seen pictures of cranes that don't work safe. Yes, question?
Can you hold the mic like this and then follow your face around?
Is it obvious I don't do this very much? Is that any better? Thank you for that. Appreciate it. I'll try to keep it in sync. Thank you. So a few pictures of cranes there. That top picture is actually the largest tracked crane in the world. We have that at one of our job sites in North Phoenix, and then a couple other examples of some cranes and how things are done correctly. So in order for a crane operation to go off without a hitch, there's a lot of stuff we need to do. You can see on the right there, this is one of our crane inspection checklists. So we go through a very exhaustive process. We have certified people come out, inspect the crane. The operators have to present their credentials as well. All that's part of how we keep the process safe. We go through, we do a pre-lift meeting with everybody on site. Everybody gets together, we talk about the load that's going to be lifted, how much does it weigh, the angle of it. There's calculations that are done, obviously, as far as the crane leaning out over the site. You can carry less load as the crane goes down and as it goes up in the air. All that stuff is calculated. There's programs and charts and stuff that we use for that. inspect all the rigging, inspect the site conditions, making sure there's not something on site that the crane's going to sink into and tip over, that kind of stuff. And then we pick the right crane, and then we get to work. So there's a lot of back work that goes into the process, but when it actually happens, it generally goes very quickly. So right now we're expecting that pool to arrive on site about 3 weeks or so, and then we're going to set it up, and then you'll see it fly in. There's the next slide. I think we could probably move to, Sean. So this is kind of what it's going to look like. That bottom right-hand picture there, that's what the pool, something similar to it is what it's going to look like. And in order to get it there, this is kind of the process we use. Obviously, this isn't a residential area, but you can see the pool's built is one unit. It's covered, tarped, and then they fly it in and drop it into place. So we've actually left the roof off of the Vita Center to accommodate that pool arrival, and it'll be kind of a neat deal when it actually does happen. So.
Ready?
And this is my why I work safe slide. It should be pretty obvious. This is my family, so I've got a couple young kids and a wife, and I've actually got one on the way as well. So I've got a strong incentive to come home every day. Construction can be a dangerous business, and we keep pictures in our vest pocket of our families to try and remind us this is why we work safe, and try to educate the other staff on site. Say, you should always be keeping in mind that this is why we do what we do. We do it for our families, and we want to come home safe to them every day. So.
Kelly's new one on the way coincides with completion of the Vita Center, so he's got extra motivation to get that done. So
hopefully I bid it by a week.
So good. All right. Any questions on the safety share? Yes, sir.
Go back to that last slide. That pool, is that a lifting platform to the far left there? Does that rise up?
Yes, that's a great question. So it's what's called a therapy pool. So it does have a wheelchair lift in the back for wheelchair to actually roll in, and then it does drop down. So that is what it's for. Or you can walk on it, yes, with a walker or something like that. So. I don't know, Gretchen. It's mostly for therapy, right?
Yeah, this is a therapy pool.
This is designed as a therapy pool, and this will not be just open to the public for people to go in and swim as they want. It's a very small pool. The dimensions, do you remember the dimensions, Kelly?
I think it's about 15 by maybe 12 by
Maybe 12
20,
by-
something like that. It's a relatively small
It's
pool.
a very small pool. You wouldn't want to do laps in this pool, right? This is just intended for therapy.
Yeah.
A therapist might get in the pool with you and help you with therapy. We might have some one-on-one or small group activity classes there, but this will not be just open for anyone to go swim at their leisure. That's what the ones in the Evergreen Fitness Center are for, and the outdoor walking pool.
That's the size of the pool I like to do laps in, though, Gretchen. I get a lot that way. Just back and forth, back and forth.
Any other questions? Any other questions? So this pool actually has a heater on it, so it's going to be kept at a comfortable temperature. I don't know exactly what that is, but I would imagine, given the activity, it'll be brought to a comfortable temperature. It probably
Might not be hot tub hot, but
Yeah.
it'll definitely be warm enough to go do therapy in.
Yeah, the heater should be sized to make it as warm as comfortably necessary.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Let's move into the first drone flight. That'll be over Inspirata Pointe. We'll let Todd do his 3-minute narrative or so on that.
Is this working? No, it's not.
It's not, yeah. Use Kelly's.
Switch. Here we go. All right, so as you can see, this was taken February 25th. This is the south side of Building C over the courtyard. We're doing the exterior sunshades on the building. We've got a lot of the landscaping in, trees, plants are going in right now. And obviously since then, you've seen we've taken the fence down, so the fence is out of the way in front of buildings C and B. So things are looking really good on this. We're cleaning up the outside. The last little couple of pallets of things are getting removed. We're inside doing all sorts of wonderful things interior. There's our construction camera up on top of the roof. We're going to leave that up there for a little while so you guys can still monitor our progress and make sure we're not sitting around drinking coffee and playing pinochle. This would be the south side of Building C over here.
The exterior is complete. We've done the punch list, completing punch list activities in the exterior. And you can see again, once, like I said earlier, the landscaping is complete. Bushes are going in. All those little black dots are where the plants go. Plants finally got delivered, so we're putting those in the ground right now. This would be the north wing of Building D. We have a little bit of screen wall work left to complete, but since last time we met, the exterior scaffolding came down. They're still in the process of dismantling it as we show in the image here. So they're getting all the scaffold out of here and trucked off-site because we're done with all the scaffolding. And then inside the dog leg of D North and D West, we call it, we just have a bunch of stage materials. The remainder of the doors that go out on the patios are sitting on those crates on the bottom, and it's just kind of a staging area for us. So this is the south side of Building D. We have got all the exterior signage on the buildings now, so as you drive by, you can see the actual names of the buildings, not referenced or referenced according to what you guys know them as. So again, this would be Building E here. We're going through and doing some exterior patio work here and there. And then right now, most of the focus is inside the building. Most of the exterior on these elevations are done. Things are all dried in, and we're just doing mechanical, electrical, plumbing, drywall work on the inside of the building. So that's kind of what's happening with Building E as we come around the south face. This would be Building G. Again, the landscaping is in pretty great shape here. You can see we've been putting down GG for the last couple weeks. We are working on getting this last retention graded out to our proper volumes, and we should have that done here in the next couple days. We'll be able to finish up the landscaping around here. This is the east side of Building F, and then there's a ramp down to the garage. So we've got the signage on for the garage as well, and then we're going to fly around the loop road here. We call it the loop road. So this is the south side of Building E. And as we're headed west here, you can see we still have some materials laying on site, but most of light poles are in now. Those ones aren't burning yet because we don't have all the power turned on in C yet, but the foundations are in, the light poles are stood. When you get around the buildings C and B, the light poles are up, and we have done our emergency lighting test with the fire marshal. So all of our exterior illumination is up and running. And then, like I said earlier, the fence is gone now, so it's looking like it's less and less of a construction site every day, which is kind of our plan. So anything else that I need to tackle on this, Sean?
No, we'll touch on that retention a little bit later in a
Sure.
still shot as far as
Perfect.
what's going on with that.
Awesome. And then this would be kind of like the interior campus, so this would be the courtyard, if you will, outside of Building F. The canopy's there, and underside of the canopy's done, and that's those two areas where the upcoming water features. So we're in the process of building those. They're permitted under Phase 3, which is why we haven't done them yet. Plus, we needed the access inside the courtyard to do all the outsides of the buildings. So it was kind of a logistics thing of why we made the decision to not do those when we did the first fountain. So those two water features are in the process of doing all the foundation work, and then over the next couple of weeks, we'll start building the walls and doing the latticrete and the tile and all those other components that make the water features work. But all the essence of the underground, all the piping and the pump system for that is all in and tested and ready to run. So other than that, we're just in a lot of the finished stages. We're trying to work as hard as we can so that when residents move into buildings B and C, we have very little outside work left to do. We don't want to be disruptive to anybody that moves in. So that was our plan, was to push the outside as hard as we could, the exterior skins and things like that, so that way most of the noises from screw guns and things of that sort is just kind of kept to the inside. So
Good. Any questions on that? Again, we've got some still pictures later as well, both inside and outside. So, all right, let's go to the Vita drone video. This one's not quite as long, but Kelly's our narrator here.
All right, so this is the Vita Center. So we've made a ton of progress the last few weeks on this job. The exterior is well underway. In fact, even in the last 2 days since this was shot, we've got most of the waterproofing on the exterior. Stucco is underway as well. So you can see the site work is about to begin. We're about 2 weeks away from starting the site work. So we'll be doing a lot of the Mass X, getting some of the remaining dirt off the site, getting ready for curb and gutter, sidewalks, and paving and parking lots. The roof is about 95% complete. You can see the hole in the roof right there in the CMU. That is where the pool's going to get flown into. So we've left that out for that reason. Again, everywhere you see the yellow is the exterior sheathing for the building, and that's going to get covered up with stucco. Almost all the windows are in at this point. So you can see the scaffolds going up right now. The building is entirely scaffolded, again, getting ready for stucco. Interior, we've got all the walls framed. About half the gypsum is up on the walls right now, and we're in the process of finishing up our above ceiling MEP. So,
Perfect.
any questions on that one?
It is kind of amazing. This shot was just shot a few days ago, and if you went over there right now, you can't see the yellow because it's covered in foam. Right? So, okay, let's get into some progress photos. So we'll start with buildings B and C that are getting ready to open. It's the exterior, as Todd said. We got the permanent signage on now, which was kind of a funny story. We've had the signage for a while, and they couldn't get a boom lift to put it on. So there was none available in the valley at the length we needed for the past probably 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. So that was we had some temporary stuff up there made by Jacob Nunn, who you guys have met. But
Who would have thought that in the 6th largest city in the U.S. you'd have problems getting equipment?
yeah, TSMC doesn't. So we got that done, and the signage is on. You can see all the little things are on now. The tongues for the drains, the fire bells, all of that sort of things you're seeing buttoned up now because we're getting ready to turn it over. So here's a couple different units on the inside. Same cabinets and countertops, but different backsplash. So that was kind of a neat comparison. You'll see on the inside, basically at this building, all of these units are signed off, corridors are signed off, elevator is signed off, fire sprinkler is signed off, fire alarm is signed off. We've been through virtually everything. Right now we have a set of doors that is not signed off. And that is a failing.
It's all because of a little computer chip like this that's
Right.
holding us up. So we've found some other parts on the project, and we're stealing that chip out of another area because that's what we do. We rob Peter to pay Paul all the time.
That's right.
So Paul's getting a new chip in it right now.
Yep.
And we're working on the doors currently to get these things taken care of.
Yeah, that chip was en route this morning when I talked to those guys on my way out here. So yeah, that's the last thing over there. So we're pretty excited about that building.
The picture on the left happens to be the community room, which is in the first floor, east end of Building B. And on the right-hand side, you can see what the corridors look like. We've given you lots of shots over the past months of how the rooms are making progression, and we've really just kind of held off on giving pictures of what the corridors look like because it really wasn't all that pretty, but now they're pretty. So we put all the nice finishing touches in there, the millwork trims, the accent, paint, and then, of course, the carpet and the different entrance carpets that go into the doorways, the vestibules to people's units. So I'm not sure what, is that second floor it looks like?
It's
But,
C120.
oh, first floor
Yeah,
then.
first floor.
First floor. So they're all relatively similar, but the design team has picked out great, beautiful finishes in there, and that's what things look like in there now.
Yeah. All right.
All right. On the left-hand side there, we went from really pretty stuff to really rudimentary construction. This is what the door frame looks like for an elevator. We've had the elevator folks on site for the last, 4 weeks, I believe. We've gone ahead and the elevator's called a 5-stop. It's the one that is in the north side of Building D. It goes from the garage all the way up to the 4th floor, hence the 5 stops. That's the largest elevator we have on the job site, and we've been building that for the last 3 weeks. Just got that completed tail end of last week, and the elevator guys have moved over to the little 4-stop. I call it little because it's one less stop, but the 4-stop elevator that's in the lobby between buildings. Resides in Building D, but it's near the bridge, so it feeds Building E as well. So that one only goes from 4th floor down to 1st. But they're working on that. This one is the big one. If you guys that have been here coming to these meetings for a while, way back in April, April of 2021, we went ahead and flew what was known as a jack shaft. So it's a big, long hydraulic ram, 55 feet long with a 65-foot deep hole, 65-foot deep casing. We flew that in place in the elevator shaft while we were doing the garage work, and that thing has been sitting in the shaft, protected, and waiting for us to get to a point of construction where the rest of the hoistway was completed, all the floors were done, and we could go through and the elevator guys could mobilize with a dried-in roof system and start putting the elevator in. So this elevator it's pretty exciting to me because we've been working on this thing for a long, long time. These other elevators that are 3 and 4 stops, they go pretty quick. They go in super simple. They're a 2-week install, and they don't really take long to get the components once they're on site installed. This was a long burn time to get early lead products on the job site, and then sit there and wait till the rest of the construction caught up. The picture in the middle happens to be the east elevation of Building D on the north wing there. On the far right-hand side, you can barely catch it in the picture. This just happens to be the courtyard outside of Building F. And then again, inside we're back to the real rough construction inside buildings D and E of stuffing the floor cavities, full fill insulation prior to doing the sheetrock installation with the utilities of HVAC down below.
Yeah, I got another picture of that in here too.
Oh, great.
It's as Todd said, it's not the most exciting thing, but if you pretty much went on any level of that building, you're going to see either insulation being stuffed, pre-rock being hung, MEP going in below the pre-rock. Everything's in some combination of these stages over there.
Yeah, so this is what it looks like, and then it goes to this. So this happens to be a kitchen in a unit. This is the notch out for the fridge, and then of course we do the pre-rock installation. This insulation that's up in here is represented in the picture behind me. Then we put this layer of sheetrock on, screw inspection, fire tape it, and then we go through and start setting the mechanical units and all the ductwork. This is probably the work that's represented here is about 3 weeks after we put this layer of sheetrock in to get all the ductwork in. We're at a point right now, once we go ahead and install the ductwork, we put insulation on it. Other than the joints, we have to seal the joints. The county comes out and inspects the joints for making sure everything's properly sealed. Then they let us go ahead and close them up. Then we frame those light gauge components in here. That's where all the can lights are installed. And then once we get all of our overhead inspection, along with the rest of the wall inspection for everything in the unit, we can go ahead and then insulate. Then we insulate and have another inspection. You guys catching an inspection problem here? Yeah. And then we can go ahead and finally put the finished sheetrock on so it looks pretty. So that's all the fun steps that we have to go through on a weekly basis.
Every inspection is an opportunity for Todd to get closer and closer to the county. So
they're almost going to be on my Christmas card list this year.
One thing that is super exciting, maybe it's just me, but when we get to this point and we get signed off on all this, that's when we get to put the final layer of drywall, the production drywall, that makes it look then like a unit, right? Like what you see. So we're getting pretty close to doing that over there in the 4-story building now. So that's pretty exciting phase for us.
Very exciting.
Okay, let's get to the fun building, F and G. We've got lots of good pictures. This is a whole bunch of people solving, I'm sure, a riddle of some sort. And you can see Todd right in the middle just telling him, fix it, whatever it is.
Riddle me this.
That's right. So that's your fireplace. So pretty cool. I didn't have a good exterior shot of the F building, but I thought that one showed it pretty well.
Yeah, it's great campus shot. All right, so as Sean mentioned, this is the additional dining space. This is the 2-way fireplace. It also reaches out to the breezeway. This view out the windows goes to the courtyard. This is a view looking to the west. Since last month, we've gone ahead and put fabric-wrapped panels in. We've got the lights burning. We've got the architectural millwork that's been fabricated took about 3 months to fabricate all those beams and columns. They're out and installed, as you can see. In this picture, we have more millwork, folks. This is a really cool, I call it the block wall. They went ahead and took all these little blocks of wood, and they've got a really great profile and design to them. There's 160 blocks in each box, and they had 10 boxes to put up. So
yeah, and I've got like a side shot coming up later, so you can see the depth of the blocks. It's pretty cool.
Yep. So yeah, as you can see, we got lights burning, and we're in the millwork finish stages over there, putting wall coverings on and decorative finishes. So things are coming right along. Again, this is the north end of casual dining. You can see we've got the ceiling in, speakers, lights. They're not illuminated yet, but we have to finish out the rest of the ceiling. The lights are here, so
But these are.
yeah, but the lights in the soffits are on. You can see this is the fabric wall covering that we've been doing. We've got the bar ceiling painted all black now. This happens to be the cook line. Just off to the right of the picture is the favorite pizza oven, which we have the ductwork in, done, connected, signed off by the fire marshal. This is some of the millwork that will go right here is once we pass inspection tomorrow, all the in-wall rough-in for all the data and refrigeration, piping, waste, domestic water, all that electric is in there. So we're really close to getting that buttoned up. Since last month, we put all the flooring, minus the carpet. This gets carpet in this space here, so there's no point in putting that in, but we've done all the solid hard surfaced flooring components in around casual dining. So things are really buttoning up. The carpet goes really fast, so there's no point in putting it down to run the risk of damaging it or having to spend the dollars and time to protect it. So since it goes last, we'll put it in then. This is the wall that Sean was talking about. This is kind of a side profile. You can see it's got some really great shadow lines on it. Super, super interesting work that they've put in. This is most people's favorite place. This will be my favorite place when it's done. That's the bar. So we put all the decorative millwork on. We've got the subtop on, countertops in fabrication. All of the components for the bartender are back behind the bar there, the well and ice bins and things like that. So we've made all the connections to the domestic water and all the waste lines and all the in-wall stuff in there is all complete. And then we've got the tile done in that area. Starting next week, we'll be putting the wood flooring in the bar area because everything overhead is done. So things are clipping right along.
Yeah, and the rack, is that thing, where are we at with that?
It's in town and it's going to happen in the next week and a half.
Perfect. Very good.
Yeah. So
Everybody's other favorite room.
yeah, after you eat or drink, these are the larger restrooms that are in building G. We've got concrete countertops in there that have waterfall ends. Really cool, great design features. The lights, the partitions, and the accessories are going in. We'll be turning lights on in that building between today and tomorrow. We were working more focused in the G building, but as you can see, these bathrooms are in pretty good shape. Just a little bit of cleaning and some touch-up things, and we're done in there.
Got some garage pics.
Yep, right on. That is the layout for the signage for the word parking garage, or words parking garage. So that is in now. The railing got painted in the last month. This is a space that very few people that are in this room will ever see. This is down below building F. It is the back of house space. It's where one of the other elevators goes to. So Royal Oaks will have dry food storage and just extra storage and space down there. Additional trash and other components. There's electric rooms, IT rooms down there. Real, like I said, rudimentary back of house spaces. But that's what some of that stuff looks like down below building F.
Yeah. So now if anybody asks you, hey, what do you think's down in the other areas of the parking garage, you can say, well, I know, because I went to the resident presentation, and it's a big brick hallway with concrete floors and a bunch of storage rooms. Other thing I'll point out is that's actual sealer. We're in the process of sealing all those concrete floors right now as well.
Correct. All right, down in the garage, we didn't do a really good job of checking our photos. We should have taken all the test weights out of there for the elevator. Those are those carts hold 500 pounds a piece. We put those in to pass our state elevator inspection for the drop test. So that's part of the component of how they load the elevator up with weight and test it. But that's what those things are. Since last meeting, we've gone ahead and we've installed the graphic wall wraps. So that is what it'll look like. If you happen to live in building B and you park in the garage, focus on that sign. That's the pathway home. Mm-hmm. So, and then on this right-hand picture, this happens to be one of the electric charging stations down in the garage. Those are all in right now. Mm-hmm. The question is how many there are. I'm going through Rolodexes of numbers in my. How many? Yeah. So the answer is
Yeah.
they'll cover 23 parking spots. So
Yeah.
that means there would be
There's 12, right?
12 of them,
Because
yeah.
there's
half of 23 plus one.
Yeah, yeah, because they have two chargers,
pigtails on 'em.
two on each, right? So good.
Yeah. The question is are there stairs from the garage up to building B? Yes, there are. There is a set of stairs from building B down to the garage. Not from building C, but from building B down to that elevator lobby. The stairs are actually, you walk through this lobby, walk in about 8 feet, take a right, and the steps will take you up to building B. So a couple of the other things, Sean was mentioning all the tests that we've been going through between fire sprinkler, fire alarm, state elevator inspector. We also have a system called BDA, and please don't ask me what the acronym is because I don't remember it right now. But what it is it's basically it's a signal repeater so that when emergency response folks arrive to campus, that their portable radios for the fire department or police department work everywhere. So a process started probably 7 months ago. We went ahead and began testing location or starting the design process, and then had to get to a certain level of construction. The certain level of construction was windows on, because low E windows affect the transmittance of the signal, stucco systems, and basically having a building pretty darn close to complete to do the testing. The testing will tell us where signal strength is high and low. And if we were in high signal strength, which happens on second floor and above in all the buildings, it's basically just first floor and then definitely down in the garage, that the fire department and emergency response folks have a hard time getting signal for their radio. So we went through and we put in this BDA system, which right now is functional for buildings B and C. And then once we get buildings E and F online, we will go ahead and put the systems in there as well. But it's really cool because we've been working behind the scenes, putting a lot of conduit in the hallways and pathways. They run risers through the stairs. And this is basically so when emergency response shows up for whatever need that there is, they have full coverage and they can talk to the base anywhere. So the radio signal goes from here to South Mountain, then back to the repeating stations or back to the fire trucks that may be up on grade. So it's kind of a cool system. A lot of work that went in behind the scenes. We went ahead and fired the system up last week. On Tuesday, got it tested, dialed in, and the fire department couldn't be happier because they can hear their radio everywhere across the job site now. So, win for us.
Yeah.
So the question is this great part of the system, the HVAC system? It is tied to the exhaust fan. So there are 3 of these large grates down in the garage. They take care of the exhaust gases. And there's, if you've ever seen some of our pictures from up on top or the drone images, there's this 7-foot tall exhaust fans on the roofs of buildings B, C, and D. And what those do is they suck all the exhaust air out. They are monitored. Get real geeky. They've got a variable frequency drive on them, so they can run at various speeds, RPMs, and they are monitored off of CO and NO sensors in the garage. Now, there's also on the side of building G, there's a push button in the event that the fire department happens to respond to, let's say, a golf cart catches on fire. Depending upon where that golf cart catches on fire, they can either turn the fan off or ramp it up 100%. And because of where it's their call on the fly when they get out here. Most of the golf cart parking is in the outside perimeter of the parking garage. They're going to go ahead and hit that button and ramp the exhaust fan up to 100%, so that all 3 fans are going to be sucking air out at 100%, so they can go in and respond to the fire. But it's kind of a cool system. There's been a lot of work behind the scenes making sure these systems are up and operational, and the safety of everyone is taking place. So kind of neat stuff. Good question. Hope I didn't get too much in depth for you. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Oh,
bidirectional amplifier. That's correct. Thank you.
We just call it the booster system. It's easier.
We just call it the fire department radio.
That's right. Well, that's good. Bidirectional amplifier. Okay. Good. All right, Kelly, you want to talk through some Vita pictures?
All right, yeah, back to Vita. So again, from this perspective, you can see we're looking about northwest. So everything on site is going to change pretty dramatically between now and next month. Like I said, we're going to be going through grading the entire site, getting ready for curb and gutter. So by April 1st, we should see some concrete in place around the site. We're going to be doing a little bit of work in front of that covered parking up there just outside the site, getting the asphalt ready to tie into the new project.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, right there. Thank you. What else to talk about here? Let's see here. Yeah, so this is the picture on the left is a view looking in at the inside of the L shape that Vita is. On the left is the physical therapy, occupational therapy room. It's a large room that sits right outside the pool, and that's where exercise classes, therapy classes, and stuff would be conducted. And then on the right inside, you can see some of the exam rooms that are going to be in the other wing of the building. Picture on the right is looking into the site as you're driving in. Again, this entire fascia here that you see is yellow, currently covered in foam. Within the next couple weeks, that'll all be stucco at that point. Again, here, this brick fascia here, these are the windows that lead into the therapy pool. So if you're in the pool, you'll be able to have the natural light coming in from the outside. This entire masonry fascia will be covered in stucco when it's done. The picture on the left is our main service entrance. It's our electrical gear that powers the building. That's sitting on a pallet right now. By the end of the week, we should start installing some of that gear.
Things that we used to take for granted that now we get excited about. Electrical gear
Yeah.
coming, right?
Some of that equipment right now is over a year lead time. And you can see, obviously, some of these projects don't take a year to build. So this is one of the things that we struggle with a lot in this industry is getting equipment and materials here in time. The picture that you saw of the roof, there's no mechanical equipment on the roof yet because we don't have it. And we just got word yesterday that it's been pushed out even more time. So we're sequencing our schedule so that the equipment arrives just in time to be able to finish the project. We should be all right on this job, but every project is like this now. So. Okay, picture on the left is looking down the hallway. Again, we're looking north, maybe a little bit east. Exam rooms on the left side. We've started drywall. Even with these pictures, there's a substantial more drywall in place right now. We've got the in-wall rough-in largely complete. We're going for an inspection here probably beginning of next week, and I'll get to see how lenient the inspectors are with what we're doing out here. And then if everything goes well, we'll start closing up walls, insulating walls. Picture on the right is the main lobby as it comes into the building. You can see the mechanical up above, largely complete. There'll be ceilings in here, and there'll be a main entry desk that sits there where the pile of sheet metal is. That'll be the main entry.
Good.
More pictures.
No. No, that's unless there's anything else you want to touch on with Vita that we can go back to here or whatever you want to.
And any questions on the Vita project? Right now, we're targeting a June 15th completion. So that's where we're at right now.
What a segue into my next slide. I'll put the drone shot back up in a second, Todd. So Kelly made a good segue. So last month we had a sort of a to be determined on the Vita Center because we didn't know when exactly the makeup air was coming and when the pool was coming. We now know when those are coming. At least we know when the pool is coming and the makeup air. That we just got a date this morning of a ship date of like April 7th. So we got a good idea when that will show up on site. So we've zeroed in on June for the Vita Center, and we feel pretty good about that. Plus, as I said, Kelly's having a baby, so he's got to finish by then. So that's where we got that settled. We had talked about February and March last month. That is still the same. We showed you lots of pictures. We are, believe, calling the county out again tomorrow to look at those doors, assuming we get those done today. And then they had a couple items in the garage they wanted to see, mostly caulking and things like that. Very, very minor things. So we'll get them back out. But everything's squared away for move-ins to start here on the C building here in a couple weeks, and then following right after that into the B building. So we're feeling pretty good about both of those. And then the restaurant and whatnot, we're another health inspection away, plus just finishing the basic install stuff. So we're looking later this month. We should be ready for starting to final out a bunch of that. So as Todd said, you saw we moved the fence. We wouldn't have moved the fence if we didn't think we were getting ready to open. So we're pretty excited. And then buildings D&E are right now we're zeroing in on that. I told you last month that those were still in the summer. They still are in the summer. We're just trying to zero in. We've been talking with our trade partners for the past several days about doubling crew sizes and things like that. Now that they don't have a whole bunch of other buildings to work in, can we just take all those people and put them in this last structure? So we're still working through some of those details. Any questions on that from a date perspective? And again, I had some questions afterwards last week just to clarify. When we give these dates, this is when we are planning on giving the facilities to Royal Oaks based on the county approving us to give it, for Royal Oaks to use it for whatever Royal Oaks needs to use. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's when Royal Oaks is going to open that building or have people move in. Just I know that was some confusion last month over some of that.
That was a segue into my question.
Oh, okay.
When will we be able to dine?
When will we be able to dine? It's a great question. Again, I don't know what Royal Oaks has for their staffing and train up and some of the owner. So when we build construction projects like this, there's a bunch of stuff that is our responsibility to build. There's a bunch of stuff that Royal Oaks goes ahead and procures outside of that. That's called furniture, fixtures, and equipment, or FF&E. So I don't know exactly where all that FF&E stuff is, dining tables and things of that sort, so maybe Gretchen can lean on that. But what Sean's getting to is that the building can be used for its intended purpose, so be able to go in and get your mail in March in the building G, which is where the mailroom is at. And then, we're going through and getting our health department inspections. We've already had our 70%, and some comments came out of that. We're addressing those. The kitchen equipment is like 98% set and installed. So we're going through and we're caulking things and sealing things up and, getting all those finishing touches, making the last plumbing connections right now. We should be finishing with those by the middle of next week. So we're really ready for some of those things to come to fruition. So when we say we're in March, just to double back on Sean's comment, that's us getting done for the health department and things of that sort. So I will unfortunately put Gretchen on the spot to find out what their ramp up time is for facilities.
Sure, and it's going to take Mark and his team a while to stock the kitchens and the storage rooms, and then also bring the staff over and train them on all the equipment. But like Kelly spoke earlier about the mechanical equipment at the Vita Center, he just got notice that it's going to be delayed. I just got notice that the tables in the dining room are going to be delayed. So it's really hard to cook out of that pizza oven and serve you pizza unless you want it to go only. So we're experiencing some delays just like everybody else is. We're hoping early May at this point, early May. The delay on the tables is not until the last week of April. So we'll see I don't know how many of those tables are coming. I'm trying to see if we can get some of them earlier, but every day I get a new email, and I'm sure Kelly and Todd do as well. And, we've ordered these tables months ago, a year ago, in plenty of time that we all thought we needed to order them, that we were told by the manufacturers and the companies that you need to order them this early. And boy, we ordered them early before that, and they're still telling us that we are going to experience delays. So I'm really sorry about that. Just like you, it's just outside of our control. But believe me, we want pizza just as much as you do, and as soon as you do.
Yep.
But we'll be keeping you updated. I know Mark and Chris have been sending you the updates from the food service team, and as soon as we have anything definitive with more information, we'll be sure to share that with everyone.
Yep.
Thank you, Gretchen.
All right. Any other questions on these dates? Yes, ma'am. So the question is, when do we plan to turn B and C over to Royal Oaks? B, we will.
No, C. That's
or C. I'm sorry. B
yeah.
is got its final fire inspections are done. We are finishing the elevator, so that should be within the next 2 to 3 weeks. I would say 3 weeks in the long end.
Oh gosh, even probably 2 weeks.
2
or
weeks.
less,
Yeah. And C. I would make a pretty good argument that if we really pushed hard enough, we could turn that over right now. It's the county is sort of, I'll put it politely, they're holding out as long as possible because they know Royal Oaks doesn't have people standing there yet. But all of our life safety is signed off in there. Those buildings are clean, ready to go. We're going to replace this chip in the first floor double doors at the bridge today. and then get the county back out. And again, the stuff on their list, they had moved the temp fence on their list for occupancy. Come on, that's our business, not theirs. But we moved it, right? So yeah, so I would say this week is our goal for C and 2 weeks for B.
Yeah, to give you some more warm, fuzzy feelings, we've been working closely with facilities.
Yeah.
For those that have picked various, let's say, ceiling fans or chandeliers or things of that sort, anything that is kind of a beyond Sundt scope of work. We've been working with Royal Oaks on when they can start getting in there, and that's like happening. They're
happening now.
tooling up on their side
Yeah.
and getting ready to get in there. If not this week, the beginning of next, to start putting those things in. So those kinds of things. The county doesn't have a problem with us. They just, we can't obviously let
Yeah.
people in until we get that seal of approval from
Yeah,
them.
and the county's just doing their job, right? They're gonna get us as done as they possibly can, to the point where, the last railing is shined up before they're gonna give it to us. But we'll get that. We're in good shape for the next couple of weeks. Yes, ma'am.
And of course, your best guesstimate on D&E.
D&E, my best guesstimate is this. So we're shifting gears a little bit to try to separate D and E, because that's how the end use is going to be. On our plans, these buildings are all actually one building, and we actually built this section last. So we're trying to catch up this section with this section, so that if for some reason this gets delayed, we can give you this building first. Right, so we're kind of taking the same approach as we did with B and C. So we're spooling that up. I can tell you right now, we're looking at August for this. But don't now next month, when you ask me again, is that still August? We are looking at August, but we're trying to improve on that, because what we really wanted was more like about the 4th of July, into June, 4th of July. And we're running a little bit longer than that right now. So that's where, like we've said, if we can get all the manpower on the other buildings to commit to staying here and all going to that building, then I'm confident we can speed that up a little bit. But we're kind of trying to schedule it more of a worst case scenario, to try to be honest, and let everybody know what's going on. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Does that mean E is after August?
Not necessarily. And it depends.
There
And
you go.
every other
Use
answer I
the
can
lawyer answer. It depends. Yes.
No. So what that means is we're preparing for, if we can't open D and E together, we don't want to hold up one for the other. D has both elevators in it, so E can't open by itself. D can. So that's why we're trying to shift all our efforts to D, so that we can get something open the soonest that we possibly can that's functional. Yes, sir.
Can you indicate the traffic flow into the parking garage?
Yeah.
Repeat
You
the
might be able to
question.
see it better on. Yeah, maybe not.
Want to repeat the question?
Yeah, sorry. Repeat the question. The question was on the traffic flow into the parking garage.
Traffic flow into the parking garage is, we call this our south cul-de-sac. You'll want to come through the south road, around the south cul-de-sac, and then down into the garage. So we have a meeting with Sun City Fire Department today to discuss traffic flow for them, because they're the responding agency, right? When something happens as a medical emergency or a fire emergency, that they need to be able to get access to the building. So if you envision the fact that B and C are occupied, they want to be able to understand what our plan it's a twofold plan, right? It's access for them, right? Which is your safety, but it's also your guys' safety in the fact that we don't want you guys going through an operating job site, right? The south side of building E and D, we're going to have to still have some aerial equipment, some boom lifts down there doing some exterior facade work. So we're working with the fire department to make sure that not only are their needs and wishes met, but more importantly, your guys' safety is priority, to make sure that people just don't start wandering or driving through our job site and getting in the way of some of our operations. Yes, ma'am. The entrance is also the exit. Yes, It is it's a wider path. I think it's like 28 feet wide, so it's enough for the right or the north side is the down, and the left or the south side is the out or exit from the garage. And it has signage over the top, so it's very clearly indicated now which side is the entrance and which side's the exit. Yes, sir. Correct. So the question is when D and E are complete, will there be access? Yes. So to get in and out of the garage, it is still this ramp that's here. But once we're done with this, if you wanted to take a hard right and go around this way, you absolutely could. Yep, that would be it's a great travel path for residents to motor out towards the north and get out onto Royal Oak Road. Yes, ma'am.
Well, then, could you show us the path from the front gate? Because we're all going to be using the front gate.
All right, perfect. So this is Royal Oak Road here. This is 99th Avenue over here. The front gate is right here. So you'll come in the front gate, take a right, your first left, and then your next right, and it'll be right in alignment to get into the garage. So it'll be a right, left, right.
Good questions. Any other questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
That gate that's on the back, that's open now, is that going to continue to be accessible once you're done?
Which gate is that?
That road that's in the back.
Oh, Santa Fe. Oh, great question. Okay, I know where you're going with this. So you're asking if this is accessible over here. So the short answer is no. So what Royal Oaks has done, this area is kind of our laydown yard. We call it Banner Land because it's owned by Banner Hospital. So Royal Oaks, on behalf of us, has done a great favor and got us the use of that space free of charge for our construction area. Just this week, we placed the footing that creates a block wall from the corner of the auto body shop, and it ties into this corner right here. So we've just poured the footing for this wall this week, and we're starting to we're going to be up to 4 feet high up by now, right now. So we're starting to lay the wall. We will have a 24-foot opening in it for now because we're still going to continue to use the Banner Land as our laydown area for all of our tools and trades and connexes and things of that sort. We'll be able to feed through here, which is why we wanted to continue to block off here and over here for us to have our safe access to building D and E. But this will have a full permanent 7-foot, 4-inch high fence on it. So the only way to get in and out of Royal Oaks is through this loop road. Did that answer your question?
There's an opening right now that comes right into Royal Oaks.
Yeah, you're talking about the one over here.
Oh, you're talking
Right,
about the one by
you're talking
by
about
the
one
parking
right
garage?
there. Yeah.
Ah, by the parking garage. My bad, I misunderstood. That has always been an entrance and always will continue to be an entrance. Now, I don't know if Royal Oaks requests that you guys go through the main entrance or if no? You don't have to go through the main entrance. You can still use that. That's been there since the dawn of time. So,
Yeah.
It actually, that there is a gate that is locked in the evening. It gets closed about 11 p.m. after the last shift goes home, and it gets opened by our security team when the first shift comes in the morning, early morning.
no, the gate is manually closed every night that Gretchen was mentioning. So that one's closed at 11 p.m. It opens at either 5 or 6 in the morning by security itself. That is correct. You cannot.
That's correct. There's no gatehouse there. There's no push button, no garage door opener. It is a manual gate that is closed and locked.
If you guys are out painting the town red and closing the bar, this would be the best entrance for you guys to come home through.
Well, unless they just close the bar here and then you can just walk.
That's true.
What else? Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Will there be additional parking at the Vita Center? I don't know the number of spots, but there are parking on the south and the east side.
But Daryl, there's both vehicular spots and golf cart parking spots over at the Vita Center.
Yes.
What is to the north of the Vita Center in that large area?
The north of the Vita Center in this area here?
Yeah, right about there.
Yep. So this gets back to my conversation about the fire department never wanting to have to back up a fire truck. I think they buy fire trucks without reversing them. So there's going to be a cul-de-sac, a turnaround spot that's going to be protected by a gate that has a particular key lock, so like a Knox key that only the fire department can access, because they don't like to use reverse. Apparently, they are really good at driving forward, but when they drive backwards, they hit things. So I'm
Like
gonna
most
take
of us, Todd.
all right. So I'll take their word for it. They don't want to run the risk of damaging their fire trucks, so they've asked that we go through and put the turnaround loop in. Big picture, campus-wide thing in future growth. When the addition to the Friendship House goes on, this cul-de-sac will go away, and the loop road will continue around. They won't have to use reverse there either. So we're here for them.
Yes, ma'am. Question was, what's happening with the drainage ditch by Building F, the fun building, which I promised we'd get back to. This guy right here.
Oh.
This guy is the bane of our existence. Essentially what happens is we have to be able to have a particular volume of water. If everything was backed up and we had a 100-year flood, it has to hold like 1,700 cubic feet of water is what it has to hold. And right now, we are not quite getting that volume. And so what's happening is we are sort of shaping the slopes to try to gain volume. You can't gain it by going deeper. They don't allow that. You have to go wider. And as you guys know from the campus, we don't have a lot of room to go wider right there. So what we're doing is every night we have a crew coming in, actually about 2 in the afternoon, a couple of Sundt guys that are operators, and they're coming in, they're shaping and shaping and shaping that. And we're shooting it again, I believe, this afternoon with the civil engineer to try to see where we're at. Ultimately, what we're trying to avoid is having to put another storage tank of some sort or something, which we don't want to do. But that's a really good question, and I know that a couple of you had that question. That's what's going on here. So our intent was this would be done by now. We're just not quite getting the volume that it needs to pass the 100-year storm regulations.
We're being dirt masseuses right now, and
That's
we're
right.
massaging the sides of the bottom of it. So
That's right. So we got 500 yards out of there, I'm sorry, 50 yards out of there yesterday. So, yes, sir.
There's a railing now on the retention basin just to the
Yep.
north of that,
Yep. Right here.
will there be a railing around, a hand railing around that?
Yeah, the question was, will there be a railing, because we've had to make it wider and steeper, and anywhere where a railing is necessary, yeah, we've already been talking with Royal Oaks about this. This may result in some railings having to be added because we've had to go steeper than what originally thought to get the volume. So good question. Yes, ma'am.
Well, this basically has to do with water, since you guys are touching on water. What are we doing with our new facility to help save water, especially since Arizona, or not just Arizona, but the West
Mm-hmm.
is so concerned with water? Because like I know right now on the premises we have grass. Does this new area have any grass at all, or none?
It's a good question, and probably one we'll defer a little bit to Royal Oaks, but we can answer the grass question.
So the question was given the current state of water in the western part of the U.S., what's Royal Oaks doing to go ahead and conserve water? So I'm going to touch on your first question about grass. We have grass up in the dog park, and I believe there's a little bit of grass that goes over in this location here, and there's a little bit that feeds the entry to buildings B and C.
And a little bit right here. We get some,
And a little bit in the
Right
bit in
there.
the courtyard. There's very little grass out here, but there is some green space, which is nice because it helps keeps everything cool. So there's not a lot of grass like one would think that there's grass everywhere. So there's a fair amount of desert landscaping, all the retentions, all the air. You can see this is all decomposed granite and desert landscaping through here. So that's useful in reducing water. The design, I can speak to some of the components that have happened in the design side. They've gone ahead and used lower flow water fixtures, right? So the lower flow water fixture toilets, same with the faucets and things of that sort, also help conserve on water. So it's not like extreme rain harvesting elements. We're not capturing any rainwater at all. But that is that's what I can explain to you of what we have been tasked to install that the design team put forth, and that's what we're putting in place.
And also, Todd, I'll add on, our irrigation system that Andy, our landscape manager, has put in place. It's the Toro system, and it's really amazing. I don't know about any of you at your personal homes in Sun City, but whenever I have a landscaping irrigation leak, I just have to wait for that muddy, dark spot to appear in the ground or a big geyser coming off one of, he actually has, it's all integrated into a computer system, and if he has a leak in any line, it notifies him. So we don't waste any water in having any leakage or anything like that. And he can monitor his water usage and change how much water is distributed to each plant. So if he has plants that need more or less water, he can actually send the right amount of water to those plants rather than just the same amount to all of the plants. So that's one of the biggest areas we've been able to conserve water. And Darren monitors that, our facilities director, on a monthly basis when our water bills arrive. And it's been very helpful for us in saving water.
I can attest that system worked. One time I hit a irrigation line and I didn't call Andy right away because I just wanted to get it fixed. And he calls me up and goes, "Hey, we got an irrigation leak out there? My computer says we got something." I'm like, "God, I can't get away with anything out here."
Awesome.
So it works. It is a great system.
Awesome. Yes, ma'am.
For maybe the next meeting, or what you can today, can you address the basketball court area and the landscaping and development of that?
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry for my midriff showing. I got a short shirt on today. I didn't plan on reaching the top of the screen.
You did that. You did that for TV.
That's great. I'm here for. I'll be signing autographs later. So to address the bocce ball court construction, things of that sort, we're not doing anything right now because that's as I mentioned during the flyover. We have it's kind of a staging area for us. It's where we're feeding the material into the building. So we've got most of the sheetrock in the building. So that's kind of a big thing that's behind us. The next upcoming work is going to be the duct work that we have to get in there with forklifts. So as we have been dismantling the scaffolding and getting the rest of the components out of there, it's kind of a staging area for us now as we have to transition from inside this building to the laydown yard. It's very laborious time-wise to transfer trash that way. The less time you can handle waste products, the better. So we're going to use that area for our dumpsters for a little bit longer. I would assume that starting in the May-ish time frame, maybe late April, we'll start doing the grading in there and getting ready for the bocce ball court construction and the rest of the landscaping and things of that sort. But grade's pretty close. We may have to take a little bit of dirt out of there, but not major mass earthwork excavations. But right now, it's just a really close staging area for us to get products into the building and go from there. So, yes?
Staying with water for a moment, do you know if the drinking water in the dining facilities will be filtered?
The answer is, do I know if the drinking water in the dining facilities will be filtered? The answer is yes.
One over there.
Yes, ma'am.
Where will the truck traffic for loading and unloading supplies for the restaurants and different places be? In Inspirata, will it be a garage or surface somewhere?
So we designed Inspirata Point so that there will be no truck traffic. There will be no semi-truck traffic, no box van traffic. All of the loading will continue to occur on the main campus where it does now, down the back driveway we talked about earlier from Santa Fe. And they will deliver to our main kitchen and our main facilities building. And then from there, we will take our golf carts and load things and take them down in the garage to the area that Todd referred to earlier that nobody will ever see, the shiny floor storage area. Yeah, that's where we'll be unloading and loading food, dry food, produce, everything, facility supplies, you name it, everything we need over there. So you will not see any trucks backed up to the fun building.
Nice. Yes, sir.
I noticed there's no solar in any of the roofs. Is that going to consider later or
So-
not at all? Or number two, huge question, is there any level 2 or 3 charging for electric vehicles?
Okay, so two questions. First one is, it was noticed that there's no solar panels on the roof. Are they coming? The answer is no. There was no design intent formed. Typically, in a situation like this, it would be if you did solar and you fed back to individual panels, but since they're metered as a building in its entirety, it was not thought of, and it was a decision that Royal Oaks made with the design team back in, probably 2018-ish, on not putting PV up on the roof. So second question was, do we have I'm not real smart on charging stations.
They're level two.
But the level, what?
They're level 2.
They're level 2? They are level 2 charging stations down in the garage.
Yep.
I gotta get smarter on this now.
There's one right there.
Yeah, well, that's what it looks like. So,
So yeah, there's this first phase has, like we said, like 12 of those, but then there's 20 or so. There's more on the other side of the garage too.
all right.
Any other questions? All right. Well, with that, thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you.